Hi, everybody. This is day 1512 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss, and it was a code red. It was an order. It was an order that came down, and they murdered him. What was the motive? Because he was reporting. He was not only reporting, um, he was exposing their criminal network, and he was turning in evidence. He was turning in evidence. If you want any proof of that, just go to any law enforcement in El Paso. Go to Joe Spencer. Go to Bill Hicks. Go to Felix Valenzuela. Go to uh, you know and just drop Richard's name. Drop his name. Go on to the post there, Fort Bliss, huge military installation, and just go to Major General Taylor, and or go visit Sean Bernabe, the Lieutenant General, and just drop Richard's name. Hey, tell us about Richard Halliday, and you'll be able to hear a pin drop in that room. You'll be able to hear a pin drop. Um, Richard absolutely was whistleblowing. He was absolutely exposing their criminal activity, and they put together a fake. It's a farce. Task Force Find Richard Halliday. How do we know that? Because um, General Stewart told us there wasn't an op warrant. And of course there wasn't an op board because where are the due outs? Where are the due outs? There should be piles and piles of files of due outs um, for 15 plus agencies. They should all have contributed. And so, of course, and then they weren't even in uniform. So that means it wasn't official. Um, so they spent American dollars on a cover up, of a code red murder of a hero, our son Richard Halliday, and young, very young. All when all this was happening, he was 19 and 20. 19 and 20. He was murdered in July of 2020. His birthday is June 24th. So, absolutely, right after he turned 21, he was murdered. So, if you want to know, I mean, just go ask the CIA. Go ask the CIA. Go ask the FBI. Go ask DHS. Go ask Department of Justice. Go ask. And you'll hear a pin drop. Richard's case is huge. We never, we had no idea. Um, but now that it's out, that there's three over 320,000, over 325,000. This is not 1,000. This is not 100. This is not 2,000. This is not 10,000. This is not 50,000. It's not 80,000. It's not 150,000. You're talking about over 325,000 unaccompanied children that are unaccounted for. Okay, so they come over, they house them, they count them, of course, because they get the money, right? They have to count the beans, um, and they count these unaccompanied children, and they created this big, huge acres and acres of white tents and everything complex on Fort Bliss called the Emergency Intake Center, and hundreds of thousands of children um, used and abused. And who was saying so? D.E.S. Thomas Kane. C.Y.S. And these, these people aren't heroes. C.Y.S. and Ogle, they they didn't say anything. We know what we know, because of 4 years of investigation, not because they cared about the children. They absolutely got caught saying how terrible it was. How terrible. And the thing is when you're the director of emergency services, when you are the director of child youth services on Fort Bliss, for Fort Bliss, it's your duty, the welfare of these children. And be it if they're migrants or not, right? It was their duty. And they were used and abused, and now they're mostly dead. That's what's being reported. They're mostly dead. That's not me saying it. It's heartbreaking. And that, for that extent, it just didn't, you just don't grab that out of the air and then, you know, put that on Fort Bliss and it happens, right? This is the work of, well, HRC, of course. You have to have the right people. Human resources needs to assign people. Who's going to be the head of the CID on Fort Bliss? Who's going to be in the office of this? Who's going to be CID agents? Because, we got to have our people. Who is going to be accepted and be in charge of the FBI office there? Who's going to be the supervisory director? It has to be our people. Who's going to be in the IG? Right? Who's going to be in the IG? Who's going to be in the VA? Who's going to be CYS director? Who's going to be DES, director of emergency services? Who's going to be there at the border? And who's going to be at the Department of State in Juarez? Because this is an international case. Richard's case is an international case. Part of those that had to be brought in legally was Interpol, was the military from Mexico, was the government from Mexico. We were targeted from Mexico. We went over there, and our missing persons report was tampered with. That's called targeting, this case. A U.S. Army soldier, whistleblower soldier, was targeted by someone in the office of the Attorney General of the area of Chihuahua, right there in Juarez, Mexico. Our son's case was targeted in the, what is that office called? The jail office. Illegally accessed and photographed Richard's file from a government computer. Now, when you ask law enforcement about Richard, you can hear a pin drop because anything they say can be used against them. And, and it's not all of them. But the thing is you have to know who's who, right? And so if you're an innocent bystander and you want to speak out and everything, but you're like, well, who do I speak to? The trust is broken. The system has been shattered. The trust is broken. No one knows where to report, who to trust, where to go to speak out. And yesterday was the hearing for Patrick Crucius, and it displayed the broken criminal justice system. It was on full display yesterday. And, since then, I mean, it seems like a week ago, or because so much is happening. And a journalist is exposing, accusing Judge Medrano and Joe Spencer of using the Patrick Crucius case to affect politics, to affect the election, to delay it, to not give it to Bill Hicks, right? I mean, the thing is that's crazy. I don't know if that reporter's not paying attention, but Bill Hicks is a usurper, right? But anyway, he's running for re-election, and the point that I think is important from this journalist is they're pointing out something that we've been made aware of, that Joe Spencer and Judge Medrano have politicized the Patrick Crucius case. It was on full display yesterday. Full display with the parading of Patrick Crucius. I mean, his due process rights were totally violated yesterday. Whether you like him or not, this is the thing with Richard. They were like, well, we don't like him, so we don't have to look for him. Wait a minute. He's a U.S. Army soldier. I don't care if you like my son or not. It is your duty. Look for him. But the thing is that they knew that he had already been murdered because it was a code red murder. It was an ordered murder. It was a takedown of a whistleblower. Takedown to silence. So, I'm going to lose my train of thought. I want to make sure that I'm on, that I can be heard. So yesterday was really interesting because what we already have been made aware of. I'm going to give you some breaking news. I don't know if this is breaking news. You can decide if it's breaking news. I think it's really big information that we've been made aware of, that we've had. We've had it for a long time. And, you can tell people, but they either don't believe it, they think maybe you have a tinfoil hat on or something, but we've been made aware of what this journalist is accusing Judge Medrano and Joe Spencer of. But of course, this has been going on a long time, and it's not just Joe Spencer and Judge Medrano. There's others, right? But it's the politicization of the Patrick Crucius, playing politics with that case, to affect elections, to affect the politics in this country. And the journalist was saying that they don't want Bill Hicks to get it. They're trying to get Montoya in, give him the glory of solving the case or whatever, right? So they want to delay. And I don't think they're right, because I have this information, right? This other information that we put out yesterday. But what we did not put out, that this journalist brings up, that we feel like, okay, people might not know this, but we've been made aware that there are audio recordings of Judge Medrano and Joe Spencer politicizing this case. And the thing is those are public. Those are part of the case. And I don't know if journalists don't look, but they're absolutely, I'm going to look at my notes, uh, because there's three. There's three of these audio recordings that we've been made aware of. And I think the journalists can go and look them up. I think one is called Backroom Deal. The Backroom Deal with Judge Madrano and Joe Spencer. To delay, to politicize. Because, if you delay, then you get more money, right? I mean, I don't know if that's why they did it. Maybe, do you think that they want money? I don't know. I don't know if they want money. They get a lot of money. The longer this goes on and on, it has to be funded. It's kind of like these wars, we need more money. We need more money. Like, really? To destroy cities and buildings and, to destroy what has already been paid for. I mean, didn't we, during that coup, didn't we send money there to build, in all these different countries, and then our roads are not getting the care that they should? Anyway, that's other politics. But and then we go and bomb them. Let's build this, let's build that, then we'll bomb it. Or whatever. I don't know. I heard a lot of complaints about that through the years, being an Army wife. So, playing politics or backroom deal, or, trying to say, let's have a bottomless wallet. Let's open up the spigot. Like, we've been made aware of these recordings because they absolutely did want the money. And, okay, so what is more important to people, justice or money? Freedom or money, justice and money, God and money. You can't serve both, right? You can't serve God and mammon. So money is driving a lot of this. It's driving the criminal activity. It makes a lot of money, this criminal trafficking. And it would be really interesting to know if there's even more audio recordings. But we've been made aware of three. Backroom Deal, Open Spigot, and also one that confirms that Judge Madrano was willing to delay. And this is nothing new. Other reporters have this. That Judge Madrano was willing to delay the Walmart mass shooting case, the Patrick Crucius case, for politics. To play politics. Now, I think that is totally criminal. And, that just shows you where we're at. And I'm not the only one that's frustrated with that. Yesterday, Christopher Morales, right? He broke the gag order. So I think let's see if I'm on here. Thank you, Danielle. I see you now. I was on the wrong thing. Um, but Christopher Morales yesterday went in front of the press and he broke the gag order. There's a gag order, which I think is absolutely. Can you imagine being gagged for 5 years or 4 years, right? And this, I think the gag order is 3 years old or almost 4 years old. I think 3 years old because it was going on. I mean, everybody's been breaking the gag order when it comes to the prosecution team and the defense team, but Judge Morales only was concerned with Yvonne Rosales and her breaking of the gag order. The the unlevel rulings from him, he's up to no good. Like he's watching Yvonne Rosales like a hawk, but then Bill Hicks has broken that gag order I don't know how many times. Joe Spencer. Now, Chris Morales, he's one of the family of the victims, and he broke it yesterday. And I think what he said was very important. He said he was told to be quiet, and he has lost his patience. He thinks this is a circus. This is not about Patrick Crusius. Now, he might not know all of the reports about the multiple shooters. He might not have put together, when you're a family member of a victim and you've been going through all of that stress, you might not even want to read through the witness accounts. You might not want to look at the pictures of Patrick Crusius. He didn't care about Patrick Crusius yesterday. So I don't know. But Patrick Crusius was totally clean, right? When he surrendered just minutes after this all happened. There's a lot of real questions. He might not know about Glendon Oakley Jr. and Glendon Oakley Jr. saying that shots rang out in the Cielo Vista Mall. That there was a team of individuals that were in uniform. He called it mall cops, so they must have been in all black. And that they had M4s. That's military grade weapon. He might not know that Glendon Oakley Jr. was found dead in his Fort Bliss barracks in April of 2020. Early April 2020. He might not know that there are, he might not be aware, like we are aware, that there are audio recordings of Judge Medrano with Joe Spencer making a backroom deal. That, they wanted the open spigot or the open checkbook. He might not know that or made aware of. You just have to hear it that these audio recordings exist, that Judge Medrano was willing to delay the Walmart mass shooting case, the Patrick Crusius case, for political reasons. He would make it happen. Now, Chris Morales, I hope that he's listening. I hope he understands that, what happens to Patrick Crusius does matter. It matters to every American. He might not know that Patrick Crusius was not read his Miranda rights. He might just say, well, I don't care. but it's a big deal because to live in chaos is hell. And we'll have a lot more of this kind of stuff, and even worse. He might not know that Patrick Crusius, who minutes before had held a gun in his hand, it's in the picture, that his hands, after he surrendered to a Hispanic law enforcement officer, that his hands were not bagged. They did not check his hands properly for gunpowder. The irregularities in this case is stunning. Is really stunning. And when you saw Patrick Crusius yesterday and how they paraded him around and how they presented him, Joe Spencer is up to no good. To allow that and for the judge to allow that, I'm just wondering, is there other audios of backroom deals? Did they rehearse this to parade Patrick Crusius out? I'm just wondering because nobody that knows law, nobody that is defending the, El Pasoans and also a defendant would allow the media to come in and film Patrick Crusius looking the way he was looking. In orange and white striped jail suit with all the chains around his ankles, his waist, his wrists, wearing a bulletproof vest, having no emotion at all, no emotion. Is he even mentally understanding that he's facing the death penalty? There was no... Yeah, those questions need to be answered. Why are we having this televised dog and pony show? And Chris Morales was right. He said it was a circus. But I do care what happens to anybody taken into a courtroom. Because if we have a rogue judicial system, we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. If they can pull this off to cover up their own crimes, and they've committed crimes. I believe those audios that are on record that we've been made aware of, and you can go look them up, is evidence of criminal activity. I believe that bringing in the media like they did absolutely violated Patrick Crusius's due process. And, when it comes to a case where the defendant is facing the death penalty, we should have a judge running that case, that capital murder case, that death penalty case, that knows how to dot their I's and cross their T's when it comes to the law. And that's not Judge Medrano. He's absolutely violated Patrick Crusius's right. Maybe he knows that Patrick Crusius's case is already botched, because it is. Because Patrick Crusius, and this is something that Chris Morales might not know, that Patrick Crusius was taken to the El Paso criminal law magistrate court. He was magistrated under this illegal court. Why are they illegal? And Judge Medrano had a hand in that. He had a hand in appointing these individuals to sit on those benches. And you know, he's a judge. He should know the law. If we can find it out, he should absolutely know. And they absolutely know that when you have a court that is that powerful, and it is, and they love it, they love this power, right? The power to lord over, to rule over. And the problem is that the Texas Constitution, the problem for them, the blessing for us, is that the Texas Constitution requires a check by the people. It's called election. And when you have a court that has a county-wide jurisdiction, a total county-wide jurisdiction, then the judges sitting on that court must be elected. The election has been violated because they just appointed these individuals to lord over the people of El Paso. And they're supposed to be elected. So everything has no authority. Everything that they do, all their rulings, has no authority. Patrick Crucius was brought in front of that court. How do we know that? Because Richard was brought in front of that court. Richard was he was illegally arrested because there was no probable cause. And he was brought in front of a court, and it was so odd because it was a canine cop doing the traffic stop in a parking lot at midnight and no probable cause. And, any judge worth their salt would say, hey, what the heck is a canine cop making a traffic stop in a parking lot at midnight? Where'd you get that call? Oh, from your cousin? You got a call from your cousin? This is a setup? This is a frame? Any judge would have asked about the canine cop. But Richard was unlawfully jailed. So Richard was brought in front. So this means a lot to us. And because we're like, well, where do they get this authority? Who are these people? Oh, they're appointed. Oh, are they allowed to be appointed? No. I mean, you want Judge Medrano to appoint your judges? You want Veronica Escobar to have a hand in that? Oh my goodness. Christ have mercy. Lord have mercy. Christ have mercy. We're in big trouble. Because she's the one that had a hand in the appointment, the bringing in, I don't know if appointment's the right word, bringing in of this illegal chief medical examiner, Mario Raskin Ortiz. Bernal was also part of that. She resigned. She read the writing on the wall. And the judges, and I believe there's 5 of them right now, and they're not even judges, they're just appointed individuals that are criminals. You know that. That's what they are right now. They're criminals, and they're making decisions in people's lives. People are being brought in front of them, and they're judging them. They're lording over them, and they have no authority to do it. That makes them criminals. And that was Patrick Crucius' initial stop. Was in front of these unlawful criminals impersonating judges, pretending to be judges, and they're not. They have no authority because the Texas Constitution is the arbiter of what is necessary to be a judge in that countywide court, not Judge Medrano. So I don't know if Chris Morales knows this, Chris Morales might not know we've been, we're very um, shadow banned and everything, but we have been, writing, writing a lot of people to let them know that Bill Hicks is a usurper of the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office because he did not sign his statement of officer, his anti bribery statement. That is necessary also under the Texas Constitution before you take an oath of office. Before you take your oath, have you taken a bribe to get here? Do you owe special favors? That makes sense, right? And he's supposed to say no and sign the statement of officer. The anti-bribery statement, it's called. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He took the oath of office anyway. But you know what? Now the oath of office is void. It's void. And then, not only that, like a month later, more than a month later, um, he gets a call by the Secretary of State saying, we don't have your statement of officer on file. And then he tries to backdate. He gets caught wrongly. I mean, he very messy. He doesn't even fix the problem. But that means he tampered with official documents. So he's covering one crime over with another crime. He absolutely should not. He should be arrested. He shouldn't have been in that courthouse yesterday or in that courtroom yesterday. And I don't know if Chris Morales knows that John Briggs was taken off the case by the Yvonne Rosales administration. It's like these audio recordings. It was the Yvonne Rosales administration that, well, wanted those recordings made available to the public. And so we'll see. We know that journalists have them. So we've just been made aware of them. And it was the administration, the Yvonne Rosales administration that took John Briggs off of the Walmart case. And what did he do? He was insubordinate. He was insubordinate and deceptive, deceiving Yvonne Rosales, going into the chamber with Judge Medrano, keeping up appearances, pretending that he was still on the case, or acting like it, deceiving people that he was still on the case, deceiving Joe Spencer that he was still on the case. And he admits this in it's page 8, in his lawsuit against the county of El Paso. I don't know if Chris Morales knows this, that the delay in the Patrick Crucius case is for politics, yes, but it's also because Bill Hicks has no authority to do anything else but to delay. He really has no authority. I mean, if he gives Patrick Crucius the death penalty that seemingly Christopher Morales wants, then legally Bill Hicks will be guilty of murder because he has no authority. He's a botched his whole office. That's why he's losing so many people because they're beginning to absolutely know. So you have a judge that's up to no good, that's willing to play politics with one of his cases and is on audio recording, making backroom deals. And, let's open up the wallet, let's open up the purse strings, let's open up the spigot and make as much money off of this as we can. Um, Willing to delay this case and make the suffering of the victims' families more so, and the victims, because I think 23 were injured also. 23 killed, 23 injured. I think that's the count. Let me look. So, what Christopher, I had so many notes today. So many notes. I tried to memorize all of this, but this is really important for everyone to know. Christopher Morales has now become a witness. A witness. And what do I mean by that? Well, listen to his media interview. It's very interesting because 3 people in his family, Rosa Barron, Rosemary Vega, I think Rosemary Vega is his mother, and then of course Melissa Sanchez. Let me see. It's in my notes. Anyway, Sanchez didn't make it. Let's see if I have it here. She's one of the victims, one of the 23. I believe that was his aunt. I believe so. Rosemary Vega, that's his mother. And he says she survived. She survived 2 shots to the chest. 2 shots to the chest. He might not know this, but that weapon that Patrick Crucius had in his hands, and these just minutes that he was in there, if he would have been the shooter to deliver those 2 shots to the chest, she wouldn't be alive. 2 shots to the chest. This is, my husband's like, no way. It would have totally damaged her heart. Can't live without a heart. So he either has to clarify his statement, but forensically, he just admitted that there had to be a different weapon, there had to be a different shooter, and it corroborates this whole thing of Ernest Christopher Grant being shot twice in the abdomen. I mean, being shot twice in the abdomen, and then, walking through the Walmart all the way back to the Walmart to the auto center, then getting into a truck and driving all the way to a hospital, and then the very next day, fit enough to have interviews. El Paso Strong interviews the very next day and become the media sweetheart. Something is very wrong with that. And that's 2 shots to the abdomen. But 2 shots to the chest, forensically, and I'm not doubting these shots at all. I'm not doubting them. I'm saying, what gun did they come from? What kind of bullet were they? That's what I'm saying. And here we have another testimony that really questions the narrative that we've been all told happened in that Walmart on August 3rd, 2019. That totally challenges the narrative. Once again, with Ernest Christopher Grant. And, Christopher Morales needs to be very careful. I believe more people need to rally around him and speak up, break the gag order and speak up. Because something happened on August 3rd that they don't want us to know. And listen to this. This is another breaking news. So we have known information about these audio recordings of backroom deals between Judge Medrano and Joe Spencer, in order, like the journalist said, to, they believe that it's to affect the election. We know that the Walmart mass shooting itself was quickly, in a day. Oh, it's this manifesto. Oh, it's MAGA. It's white supremacists. It's, this is what it is. Right? And right before an election. Right before an election. And you're like, they're really framing things. Of course, other things were going on. It wasn't only that. But do they use these things to affect elections? Absolutely. There's no doubt. And now we have journalists saying it. We have the frustration of so many, including Chris Morales, saying this is a circus. What are they doing? We are made aware of we've been aware of them for a while because they've been made public. But it's like, when can, is this relevant to Richard's case? Are they going to bring the case out and then it will all come out, right? Are they going to bring the case to trial and it'll all come out? Let it all come out in the trial with the jury. But you've got a botched prosecution and a criminal prosecution and a criminal defense. Because you have Felix Valenzuela up to no good with Lilani Hart. You have Joe Spencer up to no good with Judge Medrano. You have Bill Hicks, a usurper. You have John Briggs, criminal insubordination, engaged in insubordination. Okay, that's the right word. And then you have Judge Medrano. It's a mess. And they're covering it up with Patrick Crusius. Let's parade him around. And he's just like, no emotion at all. He's facing the death penalty. People are saying he murdered in the worst way, 23 people, injuring 23 people in a matter of minutes, and he has spick and span shoes on, spick and span pants on, not even a drop of sweat. My goodness. And his shirt's all clean. And he said he's a white supremacist. He doesn't like Mexicans, but yet he goes up to a Hispanic law enforcement agent and raises his hand and said, "Oh yeah, it's me. Yeah, you can have me. Yeah." I just was in rage a couple minutes ago, but now I'm okay. I like you. I can be nice to you. I was in a rage a few minutes ago, but now I'm okay. I got it out of my system. Take me in. Give me the death penalty if you can. I mean, it is the most ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And by the way, they charge us millions of dollars. They charge the Texans and the El Pasoans millions of dollars for this. It is millions. Yeah. And all the while, over 324,000 unaccompanied children are pouring in while they're having their little circus, and the children are being used and abused, and everyone knows about it. Let me make everyone aware of this. There are plenty of witnesses. There are so many witnesses in the Walmart mass shooting, in the emergency intake center of the abuse, sexually everything. They're mostly dead. Of over 300,000, hundreds of thousands, I should say, of minors. And there's plenty, loads of witnesses in Richard's case. There are witnesses, y'all. And they don't want us to know. And so now I have some more breaking news. Huge breaking news. On the Walmart mass shooting, there is a seal. And I think that is what Christopher Morales is also. I don't want to talk for him. But if you are a family of a victim, you would be frustrated, like we are, that there is a seal on Patrick Crucia's case, on the Walmart mass shooting case. It's been sealed, the evidence. And in order for these people to get on with their lives, right? Because they need to. There's been a lawsuit against Walmart, right? There's a lawsuit against Walmart, and Walmart can't do anything about this lawsuit until they get the evidence, and that evidence has been sealed. So the victims, and this is, who I'm thinking about is the Anchondo baby. Because the Anchondo baby didn't, from what we know, didn't even get a dime from the El Paso Community Foundation. All those donations, not even a dime to the Anchondo baby. That Anchondo baby wasn't even considered in this whole thing, in our opinion. From what we know, and I'm talking from things we know that maybe the public doesn't know. It's pretty sad. But guess who sealed the case? It wasn't Judge Medrano. It was a judge. But it wasn't a judge. It was an imposter. It was Penny Hamilton. It was Penny Hamilton, who was on the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court illegally. So an illegal imposter, a criminal, guess where she's working? She's working in the prosecution's office there in the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office. She's working with the prosecution now. She retired. I don't know what she retired from because she was a criminal. She was illegal. She was had no authority. How do you describe a person that without any authority, is it like, it's kind of like the stolen valor thing, right? They just say, "Oh yeah, I went to war," and they never went to war. "Oh yeah, I'm a hero," and they never went to they didn't do anything. "Oh yeah, um I can rule over you. I can sit on this bench. I can wear the robe." But really, she couldn't. She had no authority. And I'm not breaking news that she doesn't know. We've notified. We've notified them. And where is her public statement? Where is Bill Hicks's public statement? Where are they clarifying what we've been saying, what we've been reporting? You can hear a pin drop. Because if they do acknowledge it, they have to acknowledge Richard. And you can hear a pin drop. But Penny Hamilton, who was illegally sitting on the bench at the magistrate court, and she was in charge of the magistrate court, okay, sealed the Patrick Crucius case. And therefore blocking illegally, this is all illegal. So, okay, this is good news for all the victims' families. You need to speak up. You need to say, "Hey, give us the evidence." That seal on Patrick Crucius' case is illegal. It has no authority because it was given by an individual that had no authority. Like it would be like me saying, "Seal the case." Who are you? I don't have the authority to do it. Neither did Penny Hamilton. And we have been given information that Penny Hamilton also ruled on things in Richard's case. And she had no authority to do it. None. And this just tells you how connected. It shows, it confirms how connected, not just through Bliss Avenue and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia targeting our son's case, our family, being connected to Leilani Hart targeting us, being the mother of, well, she's a convicted criminal, and being the mother of Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart, who is a prime suspect in the murder of our son. Also, Rosa Maria being connected to KTSM through Danae Katzen and Jonathan Ambrose. And then you see KTSM coming out with this Christopher Morales information, which is super important because he's saying his mother survived 2 shots to the chest. I don't know with the timing. See, this is where we need to have this court case because with the timing and everything, the forensics, it just doesn't make sense. It needs to be explained to the people. Doesn't Walmart have the security cameras? Yes. Walmart has, but there's a seal on the case, right? Maybe we should notify Walmart that the seal is illegal, that there's no authority. That's a really good point, Danielle. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your prayers. So I'm trying to see if there's any other information we have a lot of information, y'all, and um, we just want to confirm it uh, in many different ways before we let you know, because more and more people are coming out. They're giving us information um, on, even older suspects in this case, that they've been on our suspect list for a long time. That all that information is coming out. More and more people are coming forward, law enforcement, um, and we have absolutely um, can confirm that more federal agents are on this case and looking into the Glendon Oakley case. So uh, there is absolutely evidence everywhere that there is ongoing active state and federal investigations of things that we've been reporting for a long time, over and over and over again. We just keep reporting until finally, they act, that they get it, because I don't even think they get it. And I think the other problem is because, in the paperwork for Richard, they admitted that what Richard was reporting was um, indeed right. But what they did point out was that they didn't believe it was systemic, right? They didn't believe, they just think, oh, this is just a one-off, that it wasn't a systemic problem. And, so you have to have multiple people and constantly putting in the report so that they realize, and so that even the media can't deny that there is a systemic problem. And that's why we all have to be brave, and when we see something, we have to say something, and not just say something. We need to document it, and then we need to file it. We need to file and keep filing, and they'll come back. They'll come back and they'll say, oh, well, you didn't fill this out right, or you didn't say this, or you didn't give us this, or whatever. And then you just appeal it. You just keep filing. And, and it takes a while, but we absolutely see that in a way, it's kind of good, because you can't just turn something in and they turn everything upside down for one report, right? They have to see a systemic problem. And absolutely, this is and that doesn't sound right, I know. But this is a creature of our system, and you have to keep reporting. And this is what we've learned over these years, is you just have to have very thick skin. You can't let them say things to you to take you off of your focus. You have to stay focused, and then you move forward. And we have done amazing things. First, we absolutely did not let them put Richard in cold case. We, in our reports, kept Richard out of cold case. And then we reported, and we got the Board of Inquiry. Now, that was a little shady, I'm going to be honest, because we should have been in on it with them. But we were allowed to give them loads and loads of evidence. We had more, but we gave them loads of evidence. And of course, it was so overwhelming that they declared Richard deceased. Then, of course, um, Major General Eisenhower wanted to do this like blow off kind of memorial for Richard. And we absolutely reported. We had to get letters, everything to keep that from happening, because they fought us on that. We had to fight in order to get Eisenhower not to sweep Richard's death, declaration of death, like in a quick, oh yeah, we remember Richard Holiday this day, boom, and that's it. Sweep it under, and that's it. And the end the case, which is not ended, because where are his remains? And we know that they have his remains because we know about Mexico, and we also know about Fort Bliss. About Fort Bliss. And there are loads of things that need to be answered and investigated and answered, just answered, because they already know. Where is our son's remains? And, we get all this stuff, okay, they dismembered him, okay, they did the acid thing, okay, they did the incinerator thing, okay. We want answers to that. Why do we have to be put through this hell? And Eisenhower just wanted to check his box. And it's not time to check a box yet. You got to do things right. So, and through all of this, because the Walmart mass shooting is such a part of Richard's case and vice versa, we have discovered information about both. And we gladly share it, but we want to make sure, like some of these individuals or some of the happenings that we're, is coming forward, unless we have it confirmed, like we don't have the recordings in our hand, but they're made public by the Yvonne Rosales administration. They're there. Anyone can look for them. And, is it in totality? Uh, I don't think so. I don't think so. But it's enough to let the people know that Judge Madrano's up to no good, that Joe Spencer's up to no good, that John Briggs is up to no good, that Bill Hicks is up to no good. It's enough. There's so much out there that it's enough, with the open records and everything. They're scheming, they're double standards, they're everything. And the delay, the 5 years delay, and their non-answers. So, and I don't know if Chris Morales knows that Bill Hicks, he cannot do anything in the Patrick Crucius case without taking a huge, huge risk. And I don't think he has a personality to take a huge risk. But if he gives Patrick Crucius a death penalty, because he is not authorized to do so, that would be murder, and he could be charged with murder. So I don't know if Christopher Morales knows how complicated and simple, because they're just lawless, that this case is. So, but I think he would really benefit for knowing about Penny Hamilton. That that seal, and I'm sure he wants that seal off so that they could move forward with the Walmart, the suing of Walmart, right? Um and uh, I'm just supposing there. I suppose they want it off. I think that's important to them. I don't know. But he was absolutely frustrated. And what really got us is him saying that his mother was shot twice in the chest. and live through it. That wasn't with that rifle. No way. She would never survive. So, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of answers. I mean, a lot of questions that need to be answered. I want to thank all the individuals that are finally helping Richard Halliday and family, bringing justice for Richard and other victims. All evildoers need to be held accountable. Yeah, and it's service members. I mean, what a very happy day was just the other day when we were told, oh, by the way, we're looking into the death of Glendon Oakley Jr. We're like, hallelujah, hallelujah. That means they're connecting dots, right? They're actually connecting some dots. Um, so that was really good news for us. And I think if they figure out the case of Glendon Oakley Jr., if they figure out the case of the Walmart mass shooting, if they figure out, um, and I didn't mention this yesterday. It's been so busy. This iHeart Media, this iHeart Media is a big deal. Okay, these LLCs and iHeartMedia and the Western Frontier Trading and others, the Blue Party Hall and others. There's a lot. There's because there's you have to when you're making when you're when you're doing this kind of illegal activity, you have to have a place to put the money and launder the money. So, yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on. And I think that was a wowzer. Lots of lots of information there. I hope you feel the same way. And I hope that it helps. And I hope that people absolutely start documenting this and turning these into files and demanding answers to these questions, and demanding that I think at this point Judge Madrano needs to be taken off of the case. Um, there needs to be a lot of arrests made, a lot of arrests. So thank you so much. God bless you. Richard Halliday deserves the most honorable memorial. Absolutely. We think so too. We think so too. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.